And I think my guests are now ready. Yes, good morning, Anne-Marie Stewart. How you do?
I am good, Mr. Darby. I'm fabulous.
By the way, you sound like you win a lot. Are you with all the money? You know, give me none of this. You mean?
No, but you do real estate. That's how you sound.
What's that? And that is good business to do nowadays. Take a little money and put on real estate.
with a lot of flexibility and, no boss above you but yourself.
Yes.
That's good.
And Mr. Dennis Hickey. Good morning, my brother.
Hey, I'm good, my brother. I hope Anne-Marie needs to know that we both went to one of the best high school in the country called Oxford.
But it makes you come beat me up,
No, so you might have gone to school with him, but we have some closer ties.
Hey, anyone who never talk my business for you, when I come out of the studio,
you notice I did not say anything. I just said we have closer ties.
Oh, boy, the good part of the business.
Yes. But the thing about you guys and the work that you're in, and that's what is so satisfying about your job, is that you get to meet people and you help people. And this morning I want you to tell us a little bit about what is happening out there in the market. We know high-rise buildings are going up, especially in Kingston. I hear persons talking about the cost of housing, but then should we say we can't afford it and not bother with it? So I want to have a conversation with you guys now about what is happening out there. What needs to be done to facilitate those who can't afford to buy those expensive places. So your job is to inform and to educate us this morning. So great to have you, Anne-Marie and Dennis.
Good to be here. Thanks for inviting us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invite.
Yes.
Always good to talk to you.
Right. And it's a conversation, so you're just coming at the appropriate time and we just talk. So is that an interview?
Yeah, man.
So who will start off first then? Who will hit the ground? Who's the Usain Bolt now?
I used to the lady. The lady has more experience in the business than me.
Yes.
Well, with everything experience, Dennis is just what you bring to the table. And you and I bring lots to the table. So experience is about what we know. But Vernon, to be honest, I've been in the industry since 5 years. This year makes 5 years. July 2023 makes 5 years. And the transition from what the prices were when I just came in to where they are now, the amount of the developments that are going on, and the prices are a little bit out of the reach of the average Jamaican purchaser.
Yes.
With like families can only afford, unless they go to Portmore, Spanish Town, they can't afford a 2 or 3 bedroom house in Kingston because they're not even available. Mm-hmm. And the cliche of I want to buy a fixer upper, that really doesn't exist anymore. So we have to find something in Portmore or Spanish Town in their price range. And again, the mortgage prices in Kingston through the roof, in Portmore a little bit more affordable, and with the NHT changing the amount that they're giving to persons, 3 people can co-join. So it's looking a little bit better, or should be a little bit better in the future, but it's still just going through the roof.
But, Dennis, what do we do? Yes, Dennis.
And it's interesting that Anne-Marie started off like that. And I hung up on a call for somebody who just saw me sign up call.
On on speakerphone, there's a lot of shuffling. Are you on speakerphone? If you're on speakerphone, I'm going to ask both of you to come off.
I can come off of the earphone.
Yes, man, because it's sounding very distorted.
Yeah. You hear me now?
Much better, definitely.
Right. So I came off of a call, promised to call by the client, who called me with a pre-call of $18 million.
Yes.
Who needs a fixer-upper. And immediately the conversation went to, where do you want to live? Do you want to live in a lower level area in Kingston, or live in a very decent, well-developed, well-maintained area outside of Kingston? And I am on a site now in Trelawney where these houses are probably going to sell for about $18 million.
That's my parish?
One. Right, up in a place called Hammersmith. Now, one of the things when we talk about housing being expensive is that the expensive word is associated with Kingston and St. Andrew. No.
Okay.
If you have a land shortage and you have a system where private developers are profit maximizers, the market will send the prices above the reach of the average person.
Yes.
Now, if the average person stops seeing Kingston and St. Andrew as the only place to live, there are housing solutions outside for them. If those consumers, those clients, would start going out of town for housing, that may bring some correction to the market in Kingston and St. Andrew, because as long as demand continues to remain high,
right,
prices are going to be high too. So there has to be a recognition that all of us can live in Kingston and St. Andrew and recognize that there are other developments. If you look at some large ones in St. Catherine, vast amount of people of all strata, all levels, socioeconomic levels, have gone there to live. Transportation to and from Kingston may be a challenge, but they've adjusted.
Right.
So one way of looking at the market is recognizing that there's a law of supply and demand, which is driving up housing in Kingston and St. Andrew.
Absolutely.
But if the demand, if more people who are looking for housing in Kingston and St. Andrew would accept that St. Catherine and its outskirts are good areas to live, then some people wouldn't have that question of affordability.
But then,
Dennis,
yes, go ahead.
Go
ahead.
And guess what? Guess what will help with that looking outside of Kingston? Our road system. When you have infrastructure development, it will facilitate somebody living in Mayfair, in Clarendon, in one of the new schemes out there, or somebody even going to St. Thomas in some of the schemes that I need to selling out that side. To exit Kingston, and as Dennis said, demand and supply is the sole driver. It's the sole driver. Even when you look at not just purchasing a property, but even renting a property outside of Kingston, you get far more affordable rates for a 2 or 3 bedroom house.
Absolutely.
Buying a 2 or 3 bedroom house in Kingston, let me tell you, when I hear I have a cash buyer, 23 million, wants a 3 bedroom house in Kingston. And it's like, I have to say, listen, condition your mind that we have to go out of Kingston to find you a house, 3 bedroom, with some land space, blah, 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 which is what you want.
Right.
We have to condition them. We're a relationship specialist, Vernon.
Yes.
We connect to people with properties, right? And so we have to become very good at helping to let them evaluate their own situation and what their needs are, so that they can, as Dennis says, look outside of Kingston.
All right.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to go for the break now. But what we have to think about, oftentimes that persons are looking for somewhere to live, is because you have economic activities in a particular area that can support them. They go to some rural areas, for example, they'll have a challenge with that. So I guess that's part of the problem.
Good point. And it's something that I was lining up to talk about.
I tell you what.
Housing and employment.
Hold that point.
Yes.
And what we can do, when we come back after the break, we are going to look at that, and we can talk about that some more. And probably that's where government now needs to probably come in, and probably the realtors need to start to talk with the government as to what they need to do to facilitate that movement, so that we can stem the drift of rural to urban and now turn around to urban to rural.
Absolutely.
All right, gonna go for the break right now. I'm your friend Vernon Dab. This is the People's Program, Spot On, and I have some very special guests this morning for Real Estate Matters. We have Anne-Marie Stewart, yes, and very experienced, both of them, and Dennis Hickey, and they're telling us what to expect and what to expect in the real estate market. And I hope that you're learning quite a bit. Let me get back to them. Now, before we went for the break, I was talking about, they were saying that more persons now need to look towards probably purchasing homes outside of the urban areas. But as I mentioned to them, that persons will tend to want to reside in areas where there are economic activities so that they can provide for themselves and their families. I think, Dennis, you're going to pick up on that one?
Yeah, man. So that's one. But let's say the country, the structural changes does not allow for the employment to move to the housing. As
Yes.
Anne Marie said earlier, how you solve that is solve that with proper and network road infrastructure and transportation infrastructure.
How you going to
Because
get that? Eh?
even in developed countries,
Hold on. How you going to get that
See-
with all the roads now? You
well,
know-
look at an example. In developed countries, people commute, and people commute far to work. When you talk to
Yes.
some of your relatives who live abroad. Now,
Yes.
let's take Manchester.
Yes.
Pretty soon we're going to have a road open to Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
The toll, you're going to pay some toll. The toll on that side is not so expensive.
Right.
But if you take, Anne-Marie will tell you, if you take the same size house with good quality, sell it in Kingston, people talking about $80 million, $90 million, right, Anne-Marie? You go into Mandeville, you go now and I can search and find you 20 houses in Mandeville. Same size, for 1/3 of the price.
1/3.
So if you have the ability to commute, you can. So government has now to step in and provide those things. That's government's job. Now, add to that.
Hold on. I feel add this to the roads you're talking about. And they expect NWA to do that. I call them a National Water List Agency. I don't have much hopes for that.
Yeah, and it requires some investments in infrastructure
Yes.
by government. Now, gentrification can solve some of the housing problems in Kingston. And you know, government has the authority to declare some areas development zones so you can go in and rehabilitate certain areas.
Right.
We know that there are many areas in Kingston that could deal with that rehabilitation.
Yeah.
But the other point is...
Hold on. Before you go further, use this opportunity to mention those areas because there are many areas that are around down here. Sure, if them get the people them are nice to come on and buy it from them and probably
Listen,
relocate them. So.
Why? So you have Richmond Park,
Richmond
Park
Park.
Garden, those areas, Rollington Town, and many areas where you could go in and create new housing solutions.
Right.
Now, here is where I think an opportunity has been missed in this country. If you look around at some developed countries, there are many developed countries in the world where housing solution is not just about building and selling houses.
Yes.
That not everybody can afford it, not everybody can be able to afford it. Now, some people will also rent for life. When do we get to include in our housing solution
Yes.
rental, rent to own, rental, just rentals.
But I tell you,
many
let me
societies.
just get like a hit there. You probably really, I'm sure you have thought about it already. If you
Yeah.
were to talk about rental, then those who are going to rent those houses have to be sure that they're going to get the kind of return. I put it to you that the laws that now exist for under the Rent Act will probably be a disincentive to those who want to build houses for rental
They've
purposes.
been trying to change the rent act from 2014. So go ahead and change it. Let's not delay things that can help. But here's where I think
Probably
the real
that's
opportunity is.
that's not a priority. I don't know.
Here's where the real opportunity is.
Yeah.
Who owns the most land in the country? Government. Can government
Hold on.
private
No,
sector?
man, where you get that from? Government own the most land, so them do with the land.
Government own the most land in the country. Why do you think they're selling off acres and acres and acres of land in St. Catherine, Bernard Lodge and all those places?
Oh, I hear
Government
you.
own the most land. How do we look at and assessing
Yes.
the public-private partnership where government provides the land? Land scarcity is one of the biggest problem in providing housing solutions at affordable cost, Vernon. How do we facilitate public-private partnership? Let private people run it. Let private people put the tenants in. Set up a system where the tenants can graduate from rental to owning. how do we broaden that solution so people don't have to go resort to squatting because they can't get a place to rent?
Yep.
There are so many things that the period that we have on your show doesn't allow us to get into details. But
Hello.
Hey,
No, don't speak for the show. Speak for yourself. So if you're already willing to come back, or you mean have time for this? I don't understand.
Absolutely.
And by the way, since as you mentioned that, I've been saying on this program, these are the kind of discussions that we need to have in Parliament. I haven't heard any kind of discussion with a vision. All here is knock, 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 an argument and cuss. Probably you guys need to speak out more.
You're so right, Vernon. Because for the points that Dennis raised,
yes,
has anyone ever raised them? I've never heard them
publicly
raised before. So these are the points that are very pertinent that need to start to be discussed.
And not only discuss, look at means and ways to implement.
Of course.
So your housing solution should be designed principally as providing shelter for people, place for people to live, whether it comes to buying, whether it comes to rental. All of those things must be incorporated because the private sector, capitalist, profit maximizing guy is going to build and sell to make the most profit.
Guess what?
So you can't rely on him to provide the solution.
Time must slip by. I would ask both of you to tell us first how we can make contact with you. We're going to try to have you back on next week. So tell us how we can make contact with you, Anne-Marie.
Well, I am with Hickey Property Masters.
Yes.
I'm an entrepreneur, so I am a shareholder and agent with that company. My number is 876-999-4439. We're a new company and growing, and we're here to not just to sell properties, but to engage in what we're doing now, Anne-Marie and I, with you, in finding solutions that broadly help to solve the housing.
We have to go to Anne-Marie now, but then yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so my name is Anne-Marie Stewart, and I'm with Remax Elite Realty. We've been in business for 15 years. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. And as Dennis said, we will be okay to come back. And as well, Vernon, I will be having a program starting on 5th of July where I will be interviewing with the NHT some solutions that will assist persons to get homes.
Yes. Yeah? We have to run now though. And what you do?
876-323-2663 is my number.
Repeat that for me. Repeat that.
876-323-ANNE. You don't forget, it's 2663.
Right. So that is Anne-Marie. Probably all these companies here, the real estate business, we need to probably team up together and form a powerful force so we can speak out.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Vernon.
My pleasure being with you, Vernon.
Thank you very much, Dennis and Anne-Marie.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah. Anne-Marie, have a good day, yeah.
You too, Dennis. Take care. Bye.
Bye.